Este es el podcast, el mejor negocio, episodio 7. Hoy tengo un invitado muy especial. Una persona que yo recuerdo cuando yo trabajaba con él, lo vi hacer una presentación acerca del equipo de cocina, porque él trabajó muchos años con la empresa Royal Prestige. Y lo vi hacer una presentación que asústame, la mejor presentación de ventas del equipo de cocina que he visto en toda mi vida. Y consta, yo soy un vendedor, yo soy muy crítico acerca de los buenos vendedores y los vendedores mediocres. Este señor, increíble para vender el equipo de Royal Prestige. Hace una presentación del otro mundo y una persona muy exitosa en el campo de mercadeo en red. Es un placer para mí presentarles a mi amigo y una persona que yo admiro mucho, el señor Rudy Segovia. Rudy, my brother, so good to see you.
Hola, Mr. Brown Bear. Good to see you. Are we going to do this in English or in Spanish?
Well, I thought we talked about it in English, didn't we?
Yes, I can do it either way. It's up to
let's
you.
let's do this one in English and we'll do the next
Okay,
one in Spanish. What do you say?
let's do it. I'm in.
Really, the first question is, I consider multi-level to be one of the best businesses on the face of the planet, but yet so many people who get into this business fail. Why do so many people fail at this incredible business?
Well, I like to ask the question, why do most people get into multi-levels? You know, somebody told them about a dream, an opportunity. They met somebody who's making a lot of money. They got all excited. And then what happened to them? They were shown a basic presentation. And with that, they said to them, just go see the people. They're going to buy it. They're going to want it. They're going to just grab you and take your product away from you. And they believed that. And they went out there and then they didn't sell as much as they thought they were going to sell or recruit as many as they thought they were going to recruit. And what happened to them? You know, when I got started in sales, my interviewer said to me, Rudy, don't worry about it. Just show people 1 out of 4 will buy. Okay, I accepted that. I did my presentations and he was right. 1 out of 4 was buying. And then I heard a motivational speaker say, if you have 4 kids and you treat them all the same, you're mistreating 3 of them. I said, well, what does that mean? And then I remember what that manager told me, you're going to sell 1 out of 4, which meant I was mistreating 3 of them, which meant I wasn't talking their language. And there's 4 personalities out there. Right now, we're not going to do a personality training, but you need to learn the 4 personalities. You can't have the same presentation for everybody. And I think that's where people fail because they don't take advanced training. They just go by the simple thing every day without doing anything newer. And training is just like school. You know, you go to grammar school, you learn so much. You go to high school, you learn a little bit more. You go to college, you learn more, you're smarter. And this is the way these trainings are too. As you go to advanced trainings, you're learning more. You go to, for your master's, you're going to learn more. And by the way, Brown, I don't know if you know this or not, but I have a PhD, public high school diploma. That's all I have. And I made it with that because I learned how to sell.
Amen. Ree, what's the best advice if you know a person is starting out this business? A lot of people are just starting in the multi-level business. What's the best advice you could give a person starting in this business?
Number 1, use the product you're selling. Be a consumer of your own company. How can you talk to anybody else about, you know, convincing them of something when you're not convinced yourself? And if you're not convinced yourself, you're going to lose some sales by people saying, well, let me think about it. I'll call you later. And you just walk around in circles, you know, missing a lot of sales. So number 1 is believe in your product, you know, buy it, use it. Second, learn everything you can about the product, all the benefits, all the ups and downs. I mean, you got to learn everything about the product. And then not only that, but also your competition. What is the competition offering that's different from yours? Why is yours a better overall, a better program, a better product, a better company? What makes it better? And when you have that conviction, people see it in your eyes. People see that you're being honest with them. You know what you're talking about. They trust you. And I think that's one of the advices that I would give. And then the third one, don't hang around with the people at the bottom. Because they're gonna get you negative. They're gonna say, oh, the price is too high. Oh, the company is this, the company. No. Talk to the go-getters, to the people up on top. Learn their ways. All you have to do is duplicate what they're doing. That's all you got to do. And so it's time consuming. Is it worth it? Absolutely. I know people in multi-levels that are making over $1 million a year. They're making more than lawyers and doctors and, professionals. And some of them, like me, never went to other than high school. And I just barely made it through high school. Okay. So that would be my advice to a new person.
Rudy, I'm a salesman, and I've been a salesman all my life. I'm 77 years of age, and boy, it's hard to impress me. But I have never in my life ever seen anybody do a presentation better than you. You sold me. I wanted to buy a cookware. How did you get so good at presenting the product? How did you get so good at it? Where did that come from? I don't think it's just natural. Did you learn it? How did you get to be so good at presenting the product and selling the product?
Well, thank you for that question. I started in sales 1978. And back then, you pay $20 to get into the company. They trained you. They loaned you a sample case, and you went out to work. Well, for the first 30 days, I didn't do anything. I was, just confused. I had a full-time job. And then they called me. The manager called me and, says, Rudy, you haven't been in the office for a month. You haven't sold anything. You're fired. I was self-employed, but yet I got fired. And I'm like, wait, I paid 1978, $20 was a lot of money. It's like $100 today, right? I said, well, I got to at least get my money back. So I called one person, a friend of mine. I showed her the product. She bought the product. She calls two of her girlfriends. They come over. I did the presentation again. I sold 2 more orders. I had 3 orders the same afternoon. And I made more money. I made about $120 for the day, which was more than my regular job. But I was still fired. So I went back to the office, and the manager was really upset, had a straight, really mean look in his face. He goes, I will open the case, make sure everything's there. Saying maybe I stole something. So I opened it up, everything's there. And I said, oh, by the way, John, I have 3 orders. And all of a sudden, the most beautiful face in his, oh, Rudy, my friend. I was his friend all of a sudden. He goes, what happened? I go, well, I went to see some people. He goes, I've been telling you that for a month, just got to see the people. But no, I didn't start well. I was nervous. I was shaking. My hands were shaking when I was showing the cookware. But what happened to me is I knew the money that was in sales. And I knew what other people were earning monthly, yearly. And I said, I want to be like them. So the advice that I was giving folks a little bit ago, I learned as much as I could about the product. I owned the product. I cooked in it. I burned the food. I figured out how not to burn it. And before you knew it, yes, I had a good presentation. And then I got tired of selling one-on-ones. I only did group presentations. And that's all I did. And you might remember the time that you and I worked together here in Chicago. We sold 26 orders in one day by doing a big, huge group. I think it was 50 people in the room, a big, huge presentation. And so I developed a system for selling groups. Of course, one-on-one too.
What's the difference in the presentation when you have a group? Of course, you did it to perfection, but is there a certain technique when you're talking to many people instead of person to person? What's the big change there? What do you do differently? And you were of course, very effective in doing it. But I'm just curious, I didn't notice any difference because you were so good at it. But is there a difference in the way you present to several people if you have a group versus just a couple?
Yes, definitely. And by the way, when you have a group, and I used to just invite 5 couples, 10 people, 5 couples. I didn't want any more. And I was selling like 80% in every presentation. But you have to be careful because it only takes one negative person in the room, a husband, that didn't want to be there and he's there. He can start saying negative stuff. And then before you know it, the other people are commenting on it. So it can get out of control very fast. So you have to control from the first minute you start with a story, with, some humor, some important facts, and get people to participate with you, which is what I did. And my first opening was, by a show of hands, you husbands, how many of you didn't want to be here today? And, 3 or 4 will, and I'll say, you know what? I know how you feel. I still have the scars, the scratches from when my wife forced me to go to the first, presentation of Tupperware. I didn't want to go. She dragged me there. And so now they kind of relax and, okay, he knows how we feel. So it's like there's more to that, but, they start to feel more comfortable with me. And then, of course, yeah.
If there's a negative person in the group, let's say somebody who's negative, is there anything we can do to quiet them or to what do you do if you got a guy in there being negative? This product is too expensive. I don't.
Good. You just yelled that out in my presentation. Go ahead, say it again. It's time to talk, and you say,
well, this product's too expensive. I don't think it's worth it. It's just too much money here.
Oh, you know what? That's exactly what my father said to me. This stuff is so expensive. Wow, excuse me, because you just reminded me of my dad for a second. But you know what? What he didn't know was that blank, 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 blank. And when he saw blank, 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 he changed his mind. And all I want you to do right now is just listen to me with an open mind. Boom, he quiets down.
Interesting.
Continue. But I do a third person blaming. I don't talk to them because they're not going to say, could you please just hold it? No, I know I'm attacking you. I say, no, my dad said this, or my cousin or my aunt said the same thing. But you know what? She didn't realize that this includes this, and this. And you just want to get the benefits really quick. That the person who made the comment didn't know why it's so expensive. And so, again, you have to, it's not easy, believe me, because they can throw you off when they complain.
Rudy, how important do you think recruiting is in our business of multi-level? Where do you place the act of recruiting in our business? How important is it?
Number one.
Number one?
Number one. I think it was Rockefeller who said, I'd rather make 1% of 100 people than 100% of my own effort. Because see, when you have a group, and when I started selling, 2 months later, I was a field trainer, meaning I was teaching other people how to sell the product. But when you have a group of people, they're making their sales, and every time they sell, you're making a percentage of what they sold. And before you know it, you're on vacation somewhere in Cancun, and there's 50 people at home, making you money. So it's helping them because you help them be successful, and it's helping you. And that's where I didn't really want to talk about money too much, but ever since 1980, I've been making 6 figures, earning 6 figures or more. And back then, 100,000 was a lot of money, and I only did well because I helped other people. I believe it's Zig Ziglar who said, you can have everything you want if you help enough other people get what they want.
I never saw you recruiting, but I did. I was there. You had a bunch of people that were on your team. What was the technique you used to recruit? How did you have a certain way of recruiting? What was that technique? How did you recruit so many people?
The one I want to recommend, which is my second favorite, and this was probably the best one though. The other one, because I like to talk a lot. The other one, and let me just talk about the second favorite, and that is when I first sell somebody. You just bought my product, and I'll say to you, well, welcome to our list of ever-growing customers. I really appreciate the business. And by the way, what was it that impressed you about the product? And they'll say, well, I got the benefit of this, and this. Oh, and why is that important to you? Well, because I care about my health, or because I want to make money or earn more money or whatever it was. And you'll, oh, okay, well, yeah, that makes sense. And let me ask you one thing. And this is, everybody listening, this is the way to ask. Don't change it. See, a lot of people make the mistake of asking, well, how would you like to earn 2,000 a month? Everybody's going to say, yes, yeah, I like to earn 2,000 extra part-time a month. But you ask them, how would your life change if you earn an extra $2,000 a month? See, now you got them thinking, okay, well, you know, I've been wanting to send my kids to private school. I could probably have now afford it. You know, you're touching the pain that they have about not having something, a car, a house, better things for their kids, a vacation. And then, you know, if I show you how to do that, would you give me half an hour of your time? Oh, sure. And if you have a meeting, we used to have an opportunity meeting where you brought a guest, that was the I would talk, you know, but if you have somebody that does that, but if you're the recruiter and the trainer yourself, but then you have to learn how to do that yourself. And so I invited him over to the meeting where he saw excited people that were selling, that are earning money, and we're giving recognition. And so that would talk him into it. And the next thing is I know that you don't know how to sell. It is my job to teach you. It is my job to, you know, work with you. And I promise you this, if you'd like to make 100,000 a year, I guarantee that you'll make it. And if you don't make it, I'll give it to you. But you have to guarantee me that you're going to do what I asked you to do. So I just promised them to make 100,000 a year. And I would say that to them. And if they did what I told them to do, they would make more than that. But see, it's most people. Now, one time, listen to this, Bronco. This is very interesting. And I have part of that in my other presentations. But I say, when my manager told me you're going to sell 1 out of 4, okay, that was true. So out of 12 presentations, I sold 4. But there was 4 that didn't want to buy anything. No matter what it is, they're not going to buy it. There's just going to be people that say, no. But in the middle is 6 people. So some, you know, a third said yes, a third said no. The people in the middle are saying to you, well, I'm not in the market for that product. You know, sounds interesting. I'll look at it, but I can't promise I'm going to buy anything. Perfect. Those are the ones that are going to take you to your $1 million. And that's why you need to learn how to sell. Unfortunately, I've heard some multi-level people say, well, I'm not in sales. This is not sales. You know, I help people with their, you know, health. I do this. Yeah, but you're earning money, aren't you? Are you doing it for free or you're earning money? Well, no, then that's a sale. You're making it. So learn more about sales. And those, again, the third's going to say yes, a third's going to say no. In the middle, these people, when you close them, you will get to reach your goals.
Rudy Segovia, who recruited you? How did they recruit you? Tell me about the day that they recruited you, and what technique did they use to get you?
This is a long story, so I'll try to make it short. I was a union electrician. And back then, I'm talking about early 1970s. Yeah, I'm an old guy. 1970s. I was making $12 an hour, which today would be around $55 an hour. You know, that's a nice income.
Yep.
But the problem was that people started calling me to help them with their, you know, side jobs, with their homes. And I started doing it. But I was doing it so much that I got burned out. I was working from 6 in the morning to 9 at night in the same jeans and flannel shirt. I just got exhausted. And I told my wife, I'm going to find a part-time job just so that people don't call me anymore. And you tell him he's working, he's not doing this anymore. You got to tell him that. And so I didn't care what job I got. So I saw a blind ad. Now, in the past, not today, but in the past, newspapers was the big recruiting tool. So they placed an ad that said, earn $500 a week, you know, come for an interview. That's all it said. And I went to the interview, and I didn't care what it was. I was determined I was going to take this job. And so the man tried to sugarcoat it. He said, well, what we do is we work person-to-person marketing. And I said, is this sales? Yeah, well, yeah, okay, good, I'll take it. He goes, well, hold on a second. He goes, this is selling cookware and water filters. I go, yeah, it's fine, I'll take it. And he goes, well, hold on a second. This is commission only. If you don't sell, you don't make any money. I go, I understand, I'll do it. I said, I asked him, are you going to train me? He goes, well, yeah. I go, I'll do it. He goes, wait. He goes, now he's trying like to talk me out of it or something because he said, this guy's crazy. He says, we don't give you leads. You got to find your own. I said, okay, I understand. I'll do it. And I did it. But because I was a big shot electrician, that's why that first month I didn't do anything. Because all of a sudden it dawned on me, I'm going to be selling cookware door to door, pots and pans. So I told my wife, you better not tell anybody I'm selling pots and pans. And so that's why I didn't do anything for a month until I got fired. I just wanted to get my money back, but then I liked it. So I went back to retrain, and then I started my career in sales.
Wow. Rudy, you said that recruiting was very, very important. Of course, it's numero uno in our business to be able to recruit so you can actually make good money. How, if I just started the business, how do I start recruiting? What do I do? Do I put an ad in the paper? Do I walk up to people on the street? What's the technique for recruiting in your opinion?
Right. And what I would teach people was that at your sale, invite that person to an opportunity meeting. Let me do the recruiting because it's not going to know what to say. It's going to screw it up.
But if you only sell one unit, as you make one sale a week, that's not very many prospects. How do you deal with people that you don't make a sale to? I mean, or you didn't recruit people that you didn't sell to?
Uh-huh. Well,
did you recruit sometimes people that you didn't sell to?
I have.
Did you have a technique to seeing somebody who had the charisma, who had that ability? You could tell they were charismatic, they were good talkers, they had a great attitude. I mean, how did you recruit those people? If you saw somebody like that, what would you tell them? What would you say?
Well, I would start with a conversation, and it didn't matter if I was in a restaurant, at the dentist's office, at the hardware store, wherever I was. Now, they are not going to have time to listen to your program. So the only thing I try to do was to book an appointment so I can show them the opportunity with brochures, with a video, with whatever I had. And so to me, I had to, in a case like that, where I approach people I don't know, is I start a little conversation with them. So if I was in a restaurant, now there's several ways that are very successful. And you have to think of, I like that, or I like that, but I'll change this, make it better. There's room for improvement. So I would simply, let's say I was in a restaurant, I would first of all compliment them on the place, how beautiful it is, how clean it is, the service, the decor. I want something. And then I would ask the waiter or waitress, by the way, how long have you been here? That was one question. And they would say 5 years. Oh, fantastic. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you know your job really well. And what do you love about your job? And they would answer, well, there's people, I get to talk to people. Sometimes I get nice tips. Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah. And what don't you like about this job? Now I get a little bit quieter. And they would, oh, well, I wish I could make more money. Boom, you got somebody who needs more money. Okay. Oh, more money. So if money was no object, what would be one thing that you would like to buy for yourself or your family? And it's, well, I need a car. I need, I'd like to buy a house, whatever it is they're saying. And then you hit them. When is this job going to pay you enough for you to buy that house? Oh, that's never going to happen. How does that make you feel? They were up here and now they're like really low. So, oh, I guess I feel bad. I let my family down. They almost want to cry sometimes. And then you say, if I can show you something where you can reach that goal, will you give me half an hour of your time? And they, oh, yes. Okay, because it's something visual. You got to see it to understand it. And then I take the information down, give them my number, I take their number, and make an appointment to come see me. Now,
that's a good technique when you ask them, what would you do? What would you like to have more money? What would you do with that money? Or you're getting them to divulge what's important to them.
And let me just add, if you meet people that do not have a goal, don't recruit them. They're going to waste your time. They don't want anything out of life. They just, eat and go to work and watch television. But when somebody tells you, oh, I really would love to buy a house, I need a car, even if it's only enough to get a car, you're still going to get him in, and he's going to bring other people, so you're going to grow. Don't ever feel you're wasting your time with a person, but they got to have a goal. They got to want something. If they say, well, I don't know, I guess I like more money. Okay, that's a good start. And what would you use that money for? Well, I'll put it in the bank. Well, now this guy doesn't have any goals. So you can just be out, flat out, tell him what it is. And then if you got him, you got him. If you don't, you don't. But anybody who has a goal, I'm going to help you there. And then you have to come through with your promise. This is where I have a program called Train the Trainer. This is where you need to be trained, be good at what you do, that you can pass that knowledge to somebody else.
Who recruited you, Rudy? Was it a friend?
No. I answered a blind ad.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I remember now. You answered it wasn't a friend or a relative that you answered that ad. You were ready to go. You must have surprised him. What's the best thing about the multi-level business, Rudy? What's the best thing about this business?
That you can become a millionaire with very little investment.
Whoa.
The investment you're making is in your own health. If you're selling a health product, think about this. You're buying that product for you to improve your health, and you can become a millionaire doing it. So where's the investment? There is no sacrifice, but the sacrifice or the top is learning. And some people just don't want to learn. That's the reasons some of the multi-levels got a bad rap, because the people that didn't make it, they blame the company. Oh, that product doesn't sell. Oh, this company is no good. And yet there's people in there earning over $1 million, but to them, that doesn't work. It's no good. And why? Because they didn't give themselves the time, the energy that they needed to become good at that. And I'll give you a really good example. When I was 16 years old, now again, I'm an old guy. The bands, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Dave Clark Five, you get all these groups. So 4 friends, we got together and said, let's start a band. Yes, there was only one problem. None of us knew how to sing, and none of us knew how to play an instrument, but we were going to start a band. And so I like the sound of the electric organ. There was a song called 96 Tears. The singers were Question Mark and the Mysterians. And it's pretty cool because it's got a piano organ, electric organ part that is just so cool. So I asked my father, Dad, can you buy me an electric organ? Rudy, that's a lot of money. I go, yeah, Dad, but we're going to. And so I convinced her, I think that was my first sale. So he bought me this organ. And I can't dig it. It's in here. I never learned how to play. None of us learned how to play anything, so we just dropped it. But let me ask you this. Was it the organ's fault that I didn't learn how to play it?
No.
Is it the company's fault you don't know how to sell?
No.
And that's what you have to take responsibility. So people that bad rap a multi-level or a direct sales is because they're just looking to blame somebody else for something that they didn't do.
Do you think it's important that all of us in multi-level, that we have a mentor, that we find somebody who knows the business, who can guide us, who can teach us, who can give us a system, who can help us to learn the business? How important do you think that is?
Super important. And remember I mentioned, don't hang around with the people at the bottom, because there's going to be people at the bottom of any organization. Go with the top. Some of them may want to be your mentor, even though they didn't recruit you. They're not making any money. But definitely you need somebody who has done it. There's a book. Now, I'm not criticizing the book because it's probably good. I haven't read it, but I didn't like the title, A Road Less Traveled. And again, it's probably a great book, but to me, I don't want to go and start chopping wood and getting gravel out of my way and make a new road. No, I want a road that's already developed and proven. If it's proven, why would I want to go that way? So to me, I know it sounds silly, but to me, it's go with people that have experience. They're going to show you the way. And that's why a mentor, a coach is very, very important.
A quick question. Many times when you approach people, they ask you, is this multi-level? How would you answer that? I know many people lie and they say, no, it's not multi-level. But most people don't know how to answer that question. When they would ask you, you'd be talking to a potential partner, a potential team member, and they would ask you, is this multi-level? What would you say?
Well, what I would say, first of all, is, multi-level is such a bad word. I don't want to use that. But yeah, we're in marketing. But you know what? I invite you to come to see me for half an hour so that you can understand everything. I'm not going to obligate you to do it or not do it. But once you have the information, I think you're going to be excited, especially about buying that house. That can happen for you, and I can help you. I try to get out of that subject as fast as possible, because people, just with the fact that they hear multi-level and what they heard negative from over there, they don't want to do it. They don't know anything about it, but they don't want to do it. And that's, unfortunately, that's going to happen. People don't give themselves a chance to not only help others, but help themselves improve their lives. I tell people, I ask them, well, let me ask you, if your kids were hungry and you couldn't find work, would you wash cars to make a few dollars? Oh yeah, definitely. Yes. Well, I would too. So that's what you're willing to do to survive. What are you willing to do to superarse, to, how do you say superarse in English? What would you do to, to better yourself? And then, well, just listen to me for half an hour. You'll see, you're going to find something that you didn't know. You're going to get excited.
Rudy,
all I sell is the appointment. I don't sell any more than the appointment. Yeah.
One of the things I liked about the way you did your business is that you always talked to groups. And so when you made a sale, you didn't just make one sale, you made several sales at a time. At one time when you sold 28 in one day, 28 cookware sets.
That was with your help.
Yeah, but still, you sold them. You had to sell them. How do you get, okay, and that back then you used a tactic where me and Sahara would do a relationship seminar. People would come in and you would sell them the cookware. But when me and Sahara weren't doing the presentation for you, how would you, because you've always sold to groups. How do I get a group so I can sell to a group? I want to sell to groups too. How do I get a group to sell to a group? And what do I have to do different in my presentation when I'm selling to a group of people? First of all, how do I get the group?
Okay. Well, you have to be willing to invest in your confidence that you can make a sale. And we gave let's say we made a sale to a person, and then we would invite them to invite their married couples over, and you're going to get this price or this gift. And if I have at least 2 sales, you're going to get this bigger gift. And if it's 3 sales, you're going to get this bigger gift. And so that's how we got them to bring people in. And so whether they buy or not, you're still going to get that first gift. So that was coming out of my pocket if I didn't sell. But I knew it was going to sell. So I would make them gifts pretty nice. So it all depends on your industry, on what you're selling. I can, if it's a multi-level where I'm selling vitamins, for example, I would say that, what impressed you about this vitamin? They got to first tell me that they're convinced. Well, I love that it'll do this. And why is that important to you? Well, I want to live longer, whatever reason they give me. I said, well, we're going to help some of your friends, feel the way you feel. So what I would like you to do is call, 5 of your friends. I don't want more than 5. If it's couples, we have to have couples, but you might do it singly. I don't know your business, but bring me 5 of your friends here, and I will give you your first month's supply free. Or depends on, again, how much you're willing to put into it, because you're going to recruit 3 or 4 people out of there that down the line is going to return an investment, your ROI. So you got to have confidence that you're not throwing money away. And how do you get that confidence? By getting into sales 100%, learning as much as you can, working out there, doing your presentations, and learning how to close, learning how to answer objections, learning how to present your product, learning how to break the ice. And that's the beginning of everything. That if people like you, trust you, they're going to buy something from you. And then learning the 4 personalities so that you know how to talk to the person, whether you have to talk fast to them or you have to slow it down because they are slow speakers, or you have to be somebody who's dominant. You might want to just get to because they want you to get to the point. They don't want to, hear details and details. They're risk takers. But they want to get to the point. Okay, we call them movers and shakers. And you want one of those persons in your team, But then we have to teach them the other ways, the other personalities.
Rudy, is there any advantage to selling to a group other than you make more than one sale? Let's say you had a group of 5 people. Would you be just as successful if you talk to each one individually as you are when you talk to all 5 at the same time? Is you know what I'm saying? My question is: there an advantage to being talking to the group, or would you be better off if you were able to talk to each couple individually?
Well, here's the thing. We only have 24 hours in the day. And if I'm going to make 5 different appointments, go to 5 different houses, travel 5 different times, 5 different days, like you see where I'm going with this, right? So doing it all at one time in one house, and I always came out with sales. Like I said, I averaged 80% of the couples that came that would buy the product. And the ones that didn't buy it, I would pull them on the side. And I go, maybe in the future, and this is something that you can look at, but you know what? I have a better idea. How would you like to learn the business? Because you can actually win a set of cookware for yourself. Oh, really? Yeah. And then I said, I need half an hour of your time. Come to the office and try and recruit them. Because maybe they don't have the money. Maybe they are unemployed or only the husband works and not the wife or vice versa. You don't know what their problems are. So I try to help them out if I could, if I could. So
Rudy, I believe what you said a while ago. It's so important to have a mentor. I remember when I trained for the Golden Gloves boxing. If it wasn't that I had a good coach, I wouldn't have learned as much as I did in training the art of fighting. I think a coach is so important in every aspect of your life. Uh, I want to ask you a question. Are you available? Can people hire you? Because I think if somebody's in multi-level and they have a group or they're with a company, I can't think of anybody better to hire than Rudy Segovia to teach you how to sell in masses, not to sell one person at a time, but to have 3 or 4 people to teach you the art of selling to a group. I don't know. I think you're the person, and to teach you how to sell your product. This man gives the best presentation I've ever heard in my life when he presents the art of selling his product. It's incredible. So, Rudy, I ask you, if people are listening to this podcast and thinking, wow, I would like to hire that guy to be our coach, can you be hired?
yes and yes. What I love doing is I love doing live presentations in front of people, and I'll do a groups at least 20 people, not less. But here's the thing. When you're live, you can actually go right to the person who may be struggling a little bit, where I will also do it on Zoom. I'd rather not, but I will, because I love traveling. So you tell me, come to California, well, I'm on a plane. How many times did I come see you? All this in a moment's notice. I just love traveling. So, but I'll do it over Zoom also. It's just, to me, I like to see people. And here's why. When in a live group, I'm talking to them and I'll say, okay, what would be your answer if somebody told you the product's too expensive? And I see a blank look on their faces. They're struggling with, okay, what am I going to say? That should be automatic. Like when you were teaching, they were coaching you with boxing, you knew if that hand's coming this way, you're going to block here and go with the other. I mean, you knew what to do. And so I once bought a brand new computer because I do in PowerPoints, and I have a short PowerPoint for you right now. But I bought this new computer and I'm looking for the PowerPoint app, and I'm searching and it's sending me to the internet. I come back and I couldn't find it. Finally, a window pops up and says, the program is not installed. That's why I couldn't find it. And when I talk to people live, honestly, I see that flash on their foreheads, programs not installed. They don't know how to answer objections. They don't know how to recruit. They don't know, and it's not their fault. They have just not been trained properly. They were trained just to make the sales that are the easy ones. No, you want to get in there and get more than just the minimum of sales.
Rudy, as I said, I don't think anybody could hire a better coach, man, more experienced, better at selling the product, better at recruiting than you. What number do they call? What number can they call to talk to you about recruiting you as their coach?
Yes. It's 312-804-5050.
Give me one more time.
Yes, 312-804-5050.
I can tell you right now, if you call Mr. Segovia and he agrees to work with you, you're almost guaranteed to have a mega success. First of all, he's a wonderful person. He's a man of honor. He's a man of integrity, and he's a man that knows what he's talking about. So if you're interested in growing your business, you need to have a coach. It's so important. Can you imagine? Do you think Muhammad Ali didn't have a coach, didn't have a boxing coach? Do you think all the greats in the world don't have a coach? If you think you're going to do it on your own, yeah, maybe you can, but it's going to take you 15 times longer. It's going to be 100 times harder. So if you want to succeed in this business, get yourself a coach. But you got to get yourself the right one. You got to get somebody who really knows what you're talking about. And I can tell you right now, this man knows what he's talking about. Rudy Segovia, it's an honor and a pleasure to be your friend. And I want to thank you for giving us your time and being part of this podcast.
You see, now I don't want to close this. I want to keep talking. Do you have time for a short PowerPoint? Or maybe we don't. We'll do it the next one. It's up to you.
Sure. No, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Go ahead.
Allow me to share.
Please.
No, you have to allow me to share on.
Okay. Hang on. Let me do that real quick here.
Yes, because I like people to know where I come from. See, the thing is that a lot of speakers out there, a lot of trainers, many have just read books and the how-tos, and it's like going to a marriage counselor that's never been married. You know, he's smart, he knows his material, but he's never been through the feeling of getting the word no, of getting a door closed on your face, of getting kicked out of a house. They don't know how that feels, and I do, because I've been through all that. And so I just wanted to show really quickly a little of my history, if you don't mind.
Okay. Okay. I think I shared with you, no? Am I sharing?
Yes. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Oops, that's the wrong one. One more time, Rudy. Where are you? Here I am. Okay. So anyway, this is me, Rudy Segovia, and I say my trophies tell my story. And I'll go a little bit. Today, I'm a sales trainer. I'm an inspirational speaker. And I have this program, Passport to Success, where I inspire you to transcend. See, I don't use the word transform, because I believe when you use the word transform, you're implying that there's something wrong with that person. We got to change it to somebody else. So I use transcend because it is what you know and get you better at what you're doing, improving. Now, I started in sales in 1978, retired in 2010, 33 years in sales. And here I am. And 2 years, oh, look at, I had hair in those days. That's me. I was a top manager in the United States. And then because I was a manager, I had all these people working for me, that an opportunity came that I could be a police officer. And I wanted to do it just for a couple of months because I wanted to see what it felt like to have a gun, to chase people. So I was into that, it was exciting to me. But the reason I could do this is because my group was making enough money for me that I didn't have to sell anything personally. And I thought I was going to just be there a little bit. I ended up being there 30 years. And look at it, I still had hair in those days. So here I am with 1,200,000 in sales. This is in early 1980s, which today would be like probably 5 million. And in 1995 was my best year. I was a top territory doing $2.5 million in sales. And again, I was making some nice money. So I retired. And I started my workshops. And one of my talks is from my migrant farm worker to financial freedom. And I want to show you, this is where I came from. This is my father picking cotton in Arizona. This is me right here. I don't know if you can see on the far left with a hoodie. That's me. My brother's behind me. And the other two are two cousins. We're in North Dakota working with the sugar beets. And the reason farm workers use their kids is because every little bit they do, it adds to the income of the family. And that was us. And that's my brother and I. If you look at this house behind us, that's where we live, except you got to take a wall and put it between these two areas because it was only on one side, one family, on the other side, another family. We lived in one room that was about a 20 by 20.
So we could say you started from the bottom, huh?
Well, it was worse than the bottom. I was looking up at the bottom. The thing is, with this house, if you see the roof, it's got a bunch of holes. every time it rained, my parents would put buckets to catch the raindrops. Anyway, it's a whole story. But here I am. This is my grandmother's on the far left. And that's me, my mama and my brother. But if you look, I have, my shirt is ripped and I have no shoes. I only had one pair of shoes and I couldn't wear them in the field because I would have destroyed them. And if you look at my mom's shoes, they're just those flip-flops. Yes, so we were pretty poor. And people say, well, wait a minute, how did you get from that to being recognized as #1 in sales, recruiting, manager, territory director? I even got into the Hall of Fame of Royal Prestige. And one college student one time tells me, well, Rudy, we were reading a report on migrant farm workers, and they say it takes 3 generations for you to get out of that life, that you're really destined for a life of hard labor. How did you do it? And I said, well, I didn't read the book, so I didn't know I wasn't supposed to do well in life. And number 2, what if I had listened to a person that knew nothing about, getting ahead in life? If I had read that book or that report, I would have said, look what the experts are saying. I'm not supposed to, I'm just going to be destined to a life of hard labor. And that would have been me. I would have maybe changed my mind, but nobody changed my mind. I went ahead. And this is really what started. And I like to give credit to this man. This is 1978 or 1977, I think, is when they gave me this tape from this gentleman, Zig Ziglar. He passed away. But this is all he said. He said, you are what you are where you are because of what has gone into your mind. You can change what you are. You can change where you are by changing what goes into your mind. And that quote changed my life. I have a whole different story of what happened to me when I took this to heart, but we don't have time right now. So this is the best way to become a millionaire, is marry a millionaire. But if you don't have this option, you got to go to work like the rest of us did. Okay, so.
And Rudy Segovia right away. Don't wait another moment. If you want the perfect coach, if you want somebody who, people talk about leadership. I think that the definition for me on leadership is to know where you're going and knowing how to get there. And Rudy Segovia, if you're in multi-level, he knows where you're going and he can teach you how to get there. That's so important. If you're a leader, then get together with people who know how to get to where you want to go. And where do your people want to go? Your people want to recruit, they want to sell, and they want to make money. And I tell you, there's nobody better than this man to help you do that. So I'm going to recommend everybody, please give Rudy Segovia a call. I don't know what he charges, whatever he charges, you pay him, because he'll take you to the top, I guarantee you. Rudy, it's been a pleasure and an honor to talk to you, my friend. And I think you're going to help a lot of people get to the top. Gracias, Rudy Segovia.
Thank you, Mr. Brown Bear. Thank you. Bye, everybody.